What's going on, folks? I'm gonna get straight to it. I just color all outside the lines. If you want to know why, stay tuned. What's up, folks? It's your boy Javier with the Javier Show. Just want to get straight into it. I'm an atheist and I'm conservative. And while I'm an atheist, I studied the religions. I did my research. I looked into it. I used to be Christian when I was growing up. My family basically was Christian. That's all I knew. I never knew atheism even existed. And before I even found out atheism existed, I had lost my faith in God. I read the Bible 4 times, front to back. The more I read, the more it didn't make sense to me. I studied under a theologian, got the background, the history, and the context, and still didn't make sense to me. Tried really hard to hold on to my faith and couldn't keep it. What can I say? And I'm more of an anti-theist. That's the label that I really like to prescribe to. And the reason I'm an anti-theist is because I feel like even if there is a God, I don't want to worship that God. I don't want to associate with any being that has power over my life and makes the decisions or tells me what I can and can't do. I'm more of a free spirit type person. I'm a rebellious personality type. So I just do what it is that I like to do, and I like to think that I'm free, regardless of the fact that whether God is real or not. I'm not an atheist because I want to do what I want to do. I'm an atheist because there's no religion that I found that is suitable enough for me to believe. It has enough evidence to back it up. And you have to do all these mental gymnastics in order to try to make it make sense. And until I find somebody that can prove me wrong and have an argument with me, and convince me otherwise, that's what it'll be. But even if I'm convinced and somebody finds an argument that makes sense to me, which I highly doubt, I'm willing to change my mind about God. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to fall on my knees and worship it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to change my life or choose different decisions based on a God, because I believe in individual freedoms and liberties, and I believe that I should be able to make my own choices. I don't want to be dictated by God. And if there is a punishment for that, there's even more reason for me not to believe in a God. Now, being conservative, I never really made up my mind to be conservative. I consider myself to be a right-wing libertarian, but I will prescribe to the libertarian movement. But for the simple fact is, I go by conservative a lot of times because most people either understand what conservative is or they identify with it themselves. But I never really picked the moment to say I'm conservative. It was just things that make sense to me. Like, why would I tell somebody that they can't do what it is that they put their mind to? I'm not going to sit around and wait for another man to give me anything. I'm not about to sit around and complain and cry. I'm going to go out and make change, and I'm going to do it on my own. I believe in individual rights and freedoms and liberties, and I believe that a person has the right to follow their dreams, and it shouldn't be determined by another man to give you or another woman to give you anything. I believe in that conservative message. I also believe in the platform of loving your country. I believe in taking pride and ownership for your country, and if you want to see something change, you change it yourself. But I do love this country. I think this is one of the greatest countries on the planet, and I stand behind my country. This is where my family lives. These are the people that I care about, and I'm willing to die for that. I support the Second Amendment. I'm all about protecting my rights. I'm all about being able to defend myself personally, not having to wait for another man to save me. That's a strong message that I identify with. There are some things that on the left that I agree with. I think the war on drugs is crazy. I think that marijuana should be legalized. I'm not really for abortion on a large scale. I'm still iffy about the abortion conversation. There are things that I personally believe that other people may not believe in the conservative movement or the liberal movement. It's just, there are things that I agree. I'm not really for abortions, but I do believe that some things can be good for the individual and not good for society as a whole. And I'm more concerned about how does things affect society as a whole. That goes back to religion. Do I think religion is good for society as a whole? Yes and no. But there are people who say that they need religion because without religion, they wouldn't be a good person. And that just makes me think they're a worse person for that, to be honest. But for the simple fact is, nobody's born into any religion. People are made religious. So they are taught to depend on that religion. So I'm kind of back and forth with that whole ideology, but I'm not quick to change anything. I have to be very careful before I want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. These things take time and a lot of analysts to really look into the details and figure out, what would society be like if it was this, that, and the third. Also, it's up to the personal individual. You can have a good atheist, you can have a bad atheist, you can have a good conservative, you can have a bad conservative, bad liberal, good liberal. These things come in many shapes, forms, and fashions. So it's all individual. And that's one thing that I like about the conservative mindset is you do you, let me do me, and I can take care of my community, and you can take care of your community. We don't have to wait for the government to do anything. That's why I want the government out of our pockets. Stop taking all my taxes because of the simple fact I can use that money to help somebody in the way that I choose to. And I think that maybe people on the left sometimes feel helpless. So they feel like the government should do everything, but they need to get up and make it happen. Go help somebody. Go do something. And you won't need the government to do those things. But what it's like to be an atheist and a conservative at the same time, I don't really meet too many people that are atheists and conservatives. But I can tell you right here, right now, that it ain't easy. You tell somebody you're an atheist, especially if they believe in God or they believe in a particular religion that they adhere to, they're not trying to hear that. And when you tell somebody you're conservative, and you meet other atheists, they ask you, how can you support the conservatives? They're this and they're that. A lot of people have a misunderstanding of what being conservative is. So, that makes me a minority in two different ways. Plus, also, I'm a black man. So, people ask me, how can you vote for a Republican? How can you vote for one side? They're racist. You're voting against your own interests. People assume that you're uneducated. I'm not uneducated. I'm very well versed in a lot of things. Theology, philosophy. I'm well educated. I got a degree in business. There are a lot of things that I'm well rehearsed on. I understand history. I look back in history and I notice the patterns of things. You have to be real careful before you start trying to change things drastically and you end up, messing up something you can't come back from. So I really understand these things. I love ancient history. I love the idea of the Athenians and democracy. I love being a republic and understanding the mindset between socialism and, being a capitalist and all these different things. And I can be an atheist. I can be conservative. These things do not contradict one another. And I'm really interested in hearing other people's thoughts and trying to figure out what it is that people think, because I don't meet too many atheist conservatives, or at least not many people willing to say it. And I really think that the atheists are married to the left, and that's a big problem for me. Conservative, the platform makes so much more sense. Now, I'm pretty sure people can disagree to agree to disagree or whatever the case may be. I'm just giving you my opinion. Now, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. I think this is a good video that many people should see to let people know that you can be an atheist, conservative, you can be Christian and leftist, you can be many things. So I just want to give my take. But, being Javier that I am, I'm outside of the box. And I'm outside of the box on a lot of things. And as I make more and more videos, you're going to see some of the things that I might look at the way the world is, and I might see it totally different than a lot of other people that may outcast me, but I'm an outcast. I'm introverted and extroverted at the same time. But what it's like being an atheist conservative, it's not the easiest thing in the world. But you have to have a personality that I'm very combative and very willing to stand up for what I believe, and I'm with it. So, please like, subscribe, and share. You came, you saw, you heard. Now run and tell them I said it. And if they ask me by name, make sure you say it twice. This is the Javier Show.